Welcome, Pewter Report readers, viewers, and listeners to a brand new edition of the Pewter Report podcast brought to you by our friends over at Briar Greaves Insurance. Protecting your assets starts with a company that you can count on. So whether it's auto, homeowners, flood, boaters, or business insurance, there's nobody better in the business to work with than the great people over at Briar Greaves Insurance. For more information about them, visit their website, briargreavesinsurance.com, or you can give them a call at 813-876-4166. That's 813-876-4166. It is a Tuesday edition of the Pewter Report podcast. We don't typically do a Tuesday show when the Bucs have a regular Sunday game, but we had media availability with Christmas on Thursday. Christmas will be the Bucs off day, and we are bumping everything up. So we'll do the Bucs Dolphins preview show today, and it's also a holiday today. So happy Festivus to everybody. Yes. We got a lot of problems with the Bucs, and we're going to air out some grievances as well. I kid. But yeah, we're going to break down Bucs versus Dolphins, talk a little bit about what's at stake for Tampa Bay, what went on with some press conferences today, and some injury news and all that stuff. So let's get to it. I'm your host, Matt Matera. Joined with me is the face that runs the place at PewterReport.com, SR, Scott Reynolds. Hello, Scott. How we doing?
Doing good. Happy to be with you, Pewter people, today. And it is Tuesday. And we're looking forward to a little bit of a Christmas break, Christmas Eve and Christmas, no podcast. So enjoy this one. And I know that you will. A lot to talk about today. Buccaneers actually had a couple Pro Bowlers this year. I was a little surprised, but also not at the same time. I mean, Tristan Wirfs really has had a tremendous season this year, coming back from that injury. And he's played better and better, right, as the season has gone along. I mean, you look at the Pro Football Focus grades and take those with a grain of salt, but I mean, he's been in the 90s the last couple of games. I mean, he's really turned it on, probably since that Buffalo game on. He's really been on top of his game. So fun to see him get a Pro Bowl nod. Antoine Winfield Jr. got screwed out of a Pro Bowl nod back in 2023. He made the first team All-Pro, though, right? So that was good. But at the same time, the good news is with Antoine Winfield Jr., he did make the Pro Bowl this year. So congrats. He's been healthy. That's a plus. He's made some plays, which was better than the last year when he made no plays, really. So that's a plus. But I don't know. I just think Tyke Smith has been the better safety this year and the better player. I'm not saying that maybe Tyke necessarily has had a Pro Bowl season, Matt, but when you look at it, I mean, I'm not trying to take it away from Antoine. I was surprised. Right. I was surprised that he made the Pro Bowl.
You know, you hear in sports a lot, typically in every major sport, really, a makeup call where a ref makes a call and you kind of get screwed over it, but then they help you out later. That's what it feels like with Antoine Winfield Jr. Yeah. I'm very happy for Tristan and Antoine, and shout out to Baker Mayfield and Jamel Dean, who are Pro Bowl alternates as well. But yeah, I mean, there's no doubt about it. 2 seasons ago, Antoine Winfield Jr. got screwed over when he didn't get a Pro Bowl nod, and Buda Baker did. So now it's on the other side of things. Now Antoine is getting that name recognition. So I am happy for him in that aspect. But you're right. Tyke Smith has been the better safety this year. He's been the more consistent guy. And, it's so interesting, right? Because earlier when the first Pro Bowl voting and the numbers came out, last month and stuff like that, Tyke Smith was on some lists. Jamel Dean was in the top 3. Emeka Buka was up there as well. And then the Bucs obviously floundered the way they have the past month and going 1-6 out of the bye or whatever it is, just having one win out of the bye. It kind of makes sense why there's not a lot of Bucs representation going into the Pro Bowl outside of Antoine, which is more name recognition. Right. And Tristan, who certainly deserves it. And it was very interesting because I spoke to Tristan today about making the Pro Bowl, and he had a little press conference in the locker room as well. And he was pretty emotional about it. And I don't know, maybe it's the holiday season and he was getting worked up about that, but it was a lot more melancholy Tristan Wirfs than typically what we've seen from Tristan. And he said, the past couple of games, I've finally felt like myself again. And I said, "What do you mean by that? Is it an injury type of thing? Is it something else?" And really said, he was like, when you go back to the beginning of the season, the surgery, and he said it wasn't a major surgery, but the surgery, he's like, I literally came back to practice and then bam, I'm going against the Eagles.
That's
So
right.
he felt like I never truly had the proper amount of reps and
Right.
the footing and the form that it takes to play at such a high level at his position at left tackle. So really, and you mentioned like the Buffalo game, he really said the last couple of games is when Tristan Wirfs, and he didn't use it in the third person, but
Yeah.
when Tristan Wirfs felt like he was Tristan Wirfs once again.
That's
So
right.
shout out to him. He's only getting stronger as the season goes on, and
Yeah.
no doubt about it, they're going to need him if they want to find a way to win on Sunday against the Dolphins, and of course against Carolina as well to somehow punch a postseason ticket.
Some other news: Josh Williams returns from his suspension, his PED suspension, and Nick Jackson was signed back to the practice squad there. So the Buccaneers, did the couple of little bit of roster moves here towards the end of the season. So it was interesting to see the Pro Bowl guys and a little bit of news this week. Is it going to have any effect on Sunday? I don't know. We're going to get into a little bit of Bucs Dolphins preview. To be honest, we typically do the show on Wednesday. I'm a lot more prepared to go over the next opponent on Wednesday than I am today. It's been kind of a busy day. Just finished the Bucs Brightside video. Make sure to check that out. And we had a Pewter Report roundtable too, which I'm going to drop those stories into the chat so you can check them out. Today is Festivus. Matt, explain Festivus for those of us that don't understand it. I understand it because I watch Seinfeld, but I mean,
that's right. Yeah, it's the Festivus for the rest of us. So Festivus was created by Frank Costanza, George Costanza's father, and Seinfeld. If anyone doesn't know Seinfeld, go and watch it immediately. But it was a holiday made up by Frank Costanza right around Christmas and Hanukkah time and everything like that. Where
was it George
there's something
Costanza,
about where you get a Frank. What's up?
Was it George Costanza?
Well, George Costanza's dad created.
Oh, okay. Okay, got it.
Yeah, played by the legendary Jerry Stiller. All right,
that's right.
That's Ben Stiller's dad. But you get a gigantic poll at dinner, and then you air out your grievances with everybody, what issues you have. And Frank Costanza is just like a out of this world character type of thing. And then in the episode, Kramer gets really excited about it because he's Kramer and he's into all these crazy things. And George Costanza uses Festivus to get out of I think a work function or whatever. But then his boss ends up going with him. And it's all about the airing of grievances. Frank Costanza goes, I got a lot of problem with you people and you're going to hear about it. And, just chaos ensues. And to be honest, I've wanted to I don't try to be a negative guy.
Right.
But I've wanted to do a Bucs Festivus episode or an article. But when the Bucs are playing well, it's tough to be like, hey, everything's great, but let's dig into the negative. I'm not trying to. There's enough of that narrative in
just a little bit of nitpicking.
Media.
Right.
But this is the year to do it with how the Bucs have lost 6 of 7. So I thought it'd be a good day for a Bucs Festivus and what's gone on with this team.
So that's our Pewter Report roundtable topic. And when I threw this out the other day, Matt's like, let's do a Festivus. I was like, okay. So I wanted to make sure I spelled it right. So I Googled it and it says Festivus celebrated on December 23rd. I'm like, well, holy crap, it's Festivus. So this is perfect timing, Matt, for you of all weeks to pick today to do that. So check out the roundtable. It's good stuff. We try not to be negative, but at the same time, we keep it honest. And let's face it, this team is 1-6 since the bye week.
Yeah, I think it's warranted. We always pride ourselves on calling it how we see it, being truthful and honest, not sugarcoating much of it. And there's not much to like about the Bucs going 1-6 since after the bye week. There's really not. There's not a lot to love about Todd Bowles saying it's execution and we believe in ourselves and all.
We understand that.
I mean, we go about it in a respectful way, but there's certainly a lot of things to gripe about with this team in its current state. And you know what? If the Bucs score 40 points against the Dolphins, it's going to be like, hey, look at this offense. Maybe they can carry that momentum into Carolina. It's a week-to-week thing, as you like to point out, with taking a picture of what that week was, and you're only as good as your last week.
Yeah, that's right. And And we shall see how this team is going to fare against the Dolphins. It's a Dolphins team that was kind of doing pretty well for a while. They won 4 straight games. They beat Buffalo, which was kind of eye-opening. They beat Washington in overtime. Then they had a bye week. I mean, this was the Dolphins team too. Let's maybe start from the beginning. They started off 1-6. Okay, so then
correct.
Mike McDaniel's on the hot seat, and then they started to kind of get their act together. They won 3 out of 4 games heading into the bye week, and those last 2 were right before the bye week. Then they had the bye week. Then they beat the Saints, and they beat the Jets. Maybe nothing too impressive there, but a win's a win.
Sure.
And then they've lost now their last 2 to better teams, to Pittsburgh Steelers, and then they lost in pretty bad fashion at home against the Cincinnati Bengals, 45-21 on Sunday. And it got so bad against the Steelers that they benched Tua, their quarterback, and they just gave him a contract extension. So it's kind of crazy that they put all this money into him, and Mike McDaniel's the guy that's like, hey, I'm the guy that can take this guy to the next level. And they've already benched him, and they've started a rookie out of Texas, Quinn Ewers, who, surprise, surprise, threw a pair of interceptions in his debut. Now, we do know a couple of things when it comes to Todd Bowles, his defense, and how they play against rookie quarterbacks and backup quarterbacks. They don't play that well. The rookie quarterbacks and the backup quarterbacks tend to play pretty well against them. And we've already seen both of those worlds collide, because you had Tyler Shuck, who was a backup quarterback and a rookie, and he beat the Buccaneers at home 24-20 in the rain. So now these worlds are colliding again. You've got Quinn Ewers, who is a backup quarterback. He also happens to be a rookie. How much success will he have against Todd Bowles' defense? I'm even just afraid to imagine that, Matt.
I know, right? Because I think Todd Bowles, whether it's a rookie quarterback or a guy that's been in the league for 10 years, we know Todd Bowles likes to blitz a lot, but he also doesn't always bring a lot of rhyme or reasoning as to when he should blitz and when he decides not to blitz. And I'll give you like 2 examples.
Amen.
Look at the Falcons game, and I know we keep saying, what was it, 4th and 28, and then 4th and 15, or 3rd and 28, 4th and 15. Yeah. How did they get to that 3rd and long? They blitzed Kirk Cousins could not get rid of the ball, sack, all of that stuff. Yep. They stopped blitzing Kirk Cousins, and then bam, they get the first down and eventually lose the game.
Yeah,
they didn't blitz against Bryce Young in Carolina right before the end of the second quarter. Then he decides to blitz, even though there's no timeouts. I understand the thought process of, well, if you surprise him, get a sack, and then bam, the quarter's over. But you finally decide to blitz. You leave a one-on-one coverage for, yes, Jamel Dean's been a lot better this year, but Ted McMillan is a 6'5", 6'6" wide receiver getting a one-on-one opportunity.
Yeah.
And you blitz there after playing cover 2 the entire drive,
which was working, kind of.
Which was you were at least saying, okay, we're going into halftime with the lead of 10-9. Then you blitz for no reason. You don't even blitz up at the line of scrimmage. You waited a little bit to blitz because Antoine Winfield Jr. was off a little bit, and then that's why you allowed the touchdown to Carolina, and it was one of the biggest moments of the game. Despite, the Bucs having the ball at the end with a chance to tie it or even go ahead. So Bowles' lack of rhyme or reason to generate pressure, to me, is a huge storyline in this game for Quinn Ewers, who, certainly played with a lot of talented guys at Texas, and he's going to have Jalen Waddle. But I'm also very curious. The Bucs defense has been so bad in the red zone this year, and I think that's one of the biggest. You want to boil down some of the biggest problems for the Bucs this year. It's offensively, they're kicking field goals in the red zone. Defensively, they're allowing touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
So, wide receiver Jalen Waddle is a huge, huge problem to deal with. But I think Darren Waller, who came out of retirement to play for Miami, he gets it done in the red zone. So he's a dude that I'm really paying attention to for this week because, he might not burn you on a big 45-yard play, but, within 10 yards going into the end zone, Darren Waller is going to find a way to get open and put some points on the board for Miami and hurting Tampa Bay.
Hey, if Jatavian Sanders, their backup tight end for the Panthers, can get behind Levante David and Pro Bowler Antoine Winfield Jr.
Yeah.
in the end zone and score a touchdown, sure, I'm up for anything Waller can do. Listen, I'm depressed. I am watching this Buccaneer team, especially the defense. There's nothing that they can hang their hat on. There's nobody that takes the ball away consistently. Tyke Smith has been their best consistent player, and even he is not Superman every week. He's not having the season Winfield did back in 2023 by any stretch. You mentioned it, Matt. The Bucs linebackers got a couple sacks because Bryce Young was off balance due to tripping and stumbling. So, I mean, I don't know. And, the one guy, and even Todd Bowles said it, Devon Achane, I mean, he is a speed demon. He's Jahmyr Gibbs like. And if you give him a crease, he will do what Jahmyr Gibbs, Travion Henderson with those backs have done, which is just they're gone out the gate. And he is a big play threat that they're going to have to really contend with. Easily the best player on the Dolphins offense, 1,267 yards. He's averaging a ridiculous 5.8 yards per carry. He's got 8 touchdowns on the season. Not the pass catching back, maybe that he's known for that, like Bijan Robinson, right, is known for being that dual threat, but he really is, though. I mean, Achane's actually the second leading receiver on the team. He's tied with Waddle for 64 catches, 459 yards, 7.2 yard average, 4 touchdowns through the air. So he is their weapon. And we've already seen this year, maybe done a little bit better job with it since playing Gibbs and Robinson and all that. But, the Bucs linebackers in coverage, not very good. And, that's Levante David and Servassier Dennis at this point. So I don't know. I mean, Waddle is a threat. Waller's a threat. Quinn Ewers, can you get them the ball? He is not the most mobile guy. Can you get him down? I mean, the Bucs have had point blank sack opportunities against the likes of Tyrod Taylor, Tyler Shuck, last week with Bryce Young, and just not been able to seal the deal. The team has 35 sacks this year. I went back and looked. Todd Bowles' defense from the time he came in here in 2019, when he was the defensive coordinator under Bruce Arians, the fewest amount of sacks that a Bowles defense has produced is 44. The most is 48. So they've never quite hit 50, but they're usually like around 47, 48 sacks. That's kind of been their
respectable
their number. 35 sacks this year, and they're going to be hard to get to 40, in my opinion. I mean, if you get 3 sacks this week, 2 sacks the next week, you're at 40. That's still below what you've done. And, Yaya Diaby's the leader with 6. Vita Vea second with 4.5. I mean, it just, the pass rush just hasn't been there. And that was my biggest grievance for our Festivus PR roundtable was that it was going to be better this year. Hassan Reddick, they drafted David Walker. Larry Foote come over and start coaching the outside linebacker room. Chris Braswell never materialized. I think he's a bust. It's not good. And I don't have any confidence. I mean, if this team can't beat the Saints or the Falcons or the Panthers, I mean, the Dolphins aren't very good, but I mean, like, they haven't beaten
the bad teams.
The bad teams, exactly. So I don't want to be a Debbie Downer, but at the same time, I'm looking at this and I'm like, can the Bucs win? Yeah. Can they lose? Absolutely.
It boggles my mind. They were showing some of the stats in the Bucs Panthers game where it's like, if the Bucs win, they have a 96% chance to win the division. And if they lose, they have a 54%. I was like, so you're telling me if they lose against the Panthers, which will be their 3rd straight loss in a row and losing 6 of 7, they still have technically more than an above average chance to win? Why?
Yeah.
Because they're playing the Panthers again in 2 weeks and it's at home, which the Bucs don't have home field advantage. Newsflash, everybody. They've actually played better on the road this year than they have at Raymond James Stadium. And it'll be interesting to see how Miami tries to attack the Bucs defense because, Achane is the guy that should be the locomotive for this group for Miami with a rookie in Quinn Ewers, who's still very, very much getting his feet wet. But you saw Carolina, they actually put the game in Bryce Young's hands where for most of the season, it's been run the ball for Carolina, but they let Bryce Young be a little bit more aggressive. Where on the other side of it, with Atlanta in the Thursday night game, it was, hey, we're just going to give the ball to Bijan Robinson and let Bijan Robinson do the rest. Now, it wasn't just Bijan because Kyle Pitts had a career game, and we all know what Kirk Cousins can do to the Falcons. But if I'm the Dolphins, I probably lean into, hey, we don't want to go out of control with Quinn Ewers because he can only do so much as a rookie quarterback against any defense in the league, even though it's obviously been terrible for the Bucs. I think you get Achane as many touches as possible as a receiving running back, as you pointed out, second most receiving yards on the Dolphins via handoffs, because the Bucs did a good job stopping Carolina running the football. But like you mentioned before as well, there's been a lot of running backs that have, maybe not even have ripped off like 10 yards, 15 yards, 25 yards. Like Travion Henderson, they bottled him up for the majority of the game, but it just took that one moment, or in Henderson's case, 2 moments to have the big run. I think you go back to the Detroit game. Jahmyr Gibbs just ripped off a couple of huge runs and a touchdown. It just takes one moment for Tampa Bay to miss their gaps, miss their assignments, and the running back could be off to the races. And Achane, without a doubt, has that breakaway speed that, if Miami is going to score, he's probably going to be the catalyst for scoring touchdowns in that game.
Yeah, he just has the speed that really just this Bucs defense kind of lacks, right? Because especially at the linebacker level, you're supposed to have linebackers with sideline to sideline speed, and I don't think Boss or David have that. So yeah, you have to take right angles, gang tackle, wrap up, can't throw shoulders. Like it's all those things against this guy. He's a back that can kill you either way, running or receiving. Defensively, they have an absolute stud in Jordan Brooks. He's a player that I was hoping the Bucs would trade for at the deadline. And if I'm Jason Light, and if Miami's looking to rebuild and maybe McDaniel probably gets the boot there and they're looking for a new general manager, if I'm Jason Light, I'm inquiring about Jordan Brooks, because this guy has put up an amazing season. He's been a pretty solid linebacker too throughout his career, but 169 tackles, 3.5 sacks, 12 tackles for loss, 2 pass breakups, forced fumble and a fumble recovery. He's everything that the Buccaneers are looking for. And they have another good one too in Tyrell Dodson. Tyrell Dodson's a pretty good linebacker as well. So there's a couple of linebackers that the Bucs are going to have to contend with in Miami. And it was interesting. We heard Todd Bowles today because he got asked about the hot hand. Rick Stroud asked that question. I wasn't able to make it today, but I'm glad Rick did. Rick and I were kind of texting back and forth about it yesterday. But it's like, as much as Todd Bowles allegedly had his fingerprints all over the game plan, we're going to run the ball 30 times and all this, he wasn't happy with Josh Grizzard. With not giving Rachaad White more touches. And it's like, this is the second week in a row now that Rachaad has been screwed, because you look at the 20-yard run that he had in his only carry against the Falcons. He didn't get another carry in that game. And then after a 39-yard run, his longest run of the season, he gets 4 more carries. And most of those were kind of like in the red zone area. So it didn't really have the chance to break off another big run per se. And it's a little condensed down there when you get into the lower red. So, Matt, when you look at what Bucky Irving's done, and again, I'm not throwing shade at Bucky, but I'm kind of like pointing out what Rachaad has been doing. Rachaad has had 19 carries over the past 4 games, and he's averaged 6.6 yards per carry. And Bucky in the last 4 games has averaged 3.7. So Rachaad is getting twice the production that Bucky is. And Bucky in the last 4 games has 67 carries to Rashaad's 19, right? I just kind of screams like, what are we doing here on offense? It's not a good look for Josh Grizzard. And then on top of that, Matt, throw in the fact that Sean Tucker in the few instances he gets, he finds the end zone. He scored his 7th rushing touchdown of the season. He's got 8, which is a career high. Leads all running backs because he's got 1 through the air as well. I'm with you, Matt. You've kind of been banging this drum, and I'm with you. I'd love to see it more split up evenly, like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. If you have a true three-headed monster, let's do it, because we just haven't seen Bucky Irving break off the big runs with the consistency that he did last year.
No, and if they had last year's version of Bucky Irving, then fine. Maybe Sean Tucker doesn't get a lot of attempts, or maybe he gets what he has right now, which is 8 snaps a game and 3 rushing attempts in it. But you're not getting last year's Bucky Irving. You're getting a new Bucky Irving that just isn't. It's not always his fault, but he just isn't making the big time plays, and that's why it was really eye opening when Bowles said today. His words were, I absolutely agree that Rachaad White should be getting the ball more. And it was phrased really, really well by Rick, too, because he said, you guys have talked a lot about riding the hot hand. Bucky Irving, the 20-yard run last game, the 39-yard run, last week against Atlanta, then the 39-yard run against the Panthers on Sunday. Is that not riding? Is that not like a hot hand? Is that not what you want to get going? So, very eye-opening by Todd Bowles to just flat out be like, yeah, we need to get him the football more. And then it was almost sad at some point. Because remember Bowles, I can't remember if it was Sunday or Monday when he spoke, and he kept hammering home, like, if you run it 30 times against the Panthers, you will win. And it was... Then Baker had to say it up at the lectern today. Then Tristan Wirth said it in the locker room. And it's like, if you go to the place Moe's, they make the burritos and everything. You walk in, they go, welcome to Moe's. And sometimes you'll have a very enthusiastic employee that's like, welcome to Moe's. And then you get the person that's like,
welcome to Moe's.
Okay, we've done this a million times. Welcome to Moe's. Welcome to Moe's. And like, that was Baker and that was Tristan Wirfs. Like, clearly, maybe it was written on the whiteboard, like, run it 30 times. The Panthers are 2 and whatever when you run it 30 times. And the fact that they're looking at stats from last year is ridiculous.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Like, that's last year's defense. They didn't have Derrick Brown last year. He was hurt for most of it.
I would also love to see, like, what is the record against the Panthers when quarterbacks throw for 4 touchdowns?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like, did you bother to look at that? Did you bother to look at, like, every time Mike Evans has 2 touchdowns against the Panthers, do they win? I mean, just like we can look at both sides of the coin here. I just think it was a very short-sighted, archaic approach to that game. Folks, the holiday season's here. We're 2 days away from Christmas. Walk-ons is going to be closed on Christmas. Okay, they are, but they're open today, and they're going to be open tomorrow too. And if you want to get a great stocking stuffer for the sports fan in your life, give the gift of game day at Walk-Ons with a Walk-Ons gift card that makes the holiday season taste like a win. And right now, for the limited time during the holiday season, you can buy $50 worth of Walk-Ons gift cards and receive a $10 gift card. So that's really $60 right there. Maybe you throw in that extra gift card, as an additional stocking stuffer. Maybe you keep it for yourself because you're a good little elf, right? But make sure you get to Walk-Ons, enjoy their food, their football. They have TVs galore, not a bad seat in the house. The food and drink specials are fantastic. Best happy hour in the Tampa Bay area. Bowl game season is here. College playoffs is here. NFL season's winding down. College basketball's on. NBA. There's a lot going on in the sports world right now. So Walk-Ons is going to be your place to go. 3 Tampa Bay area locations: Wesley Chapel, Midtown Tampa, and Lakeland.
Yeah, I can't wait for the second round of the college football playoff. I'll tell you that. That's going to be a fun one. We got a couple of super chats to get to, though, some comments as well. So we'll read them off. We'll start with Bart Harley Jarvis. Thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, watch the tape. Diaby has a great motor. Will learn to finish. Good number 2, if not. Reddick plays with zero urgency. Looks disinterested. Washed, lazy, or both?
Yeah, I mean, I only played 2 years of high school football. I had a knee injury that just ruined my very subpar athletic career. So I don't know what that feeling is like to be washed, per se. Like I was great and I'm not great anymore. Yeah, I have no idea because I was like subpar, right? I was. But I do know when I went out for training camp the next year and my knee started to kind of buckle when I was just doing conditioning and give out, I was just like, ugh, this is the end. Like, I want to be able to walk. I have zero future in college. Like I'm not playing football at all. And so I basically just kind of had to quit football right after my sophomore season. And I just kind of knew, after in training camp, I'm like, I could try to go through the motions, but my knee is not feeling right. And I think that's kind of the case too when you get old and your skills, your body doesn't respond the way it used to. You get that realization, right? And I think Levante David's there, right? You've kind of seen that viral video of him where looks like he's loafing. I don't know. I don't know if he's loafing or if he's just like, my knee hurts really bad and I just can't do this anymore, right? Same thing with Hassan Reddick. He can't get to the quarterback anymore. He's not that guy. He's way closer to the guy he was with the Jets, where it was 1 sack season and 10 games last year, than he was with double digits against the Eagles, or when he was with the Eagles. Yeah, I think he's washed. I don't think he's lazy. I just think he knows it, and it's got to be disheartening, But
yeah, exactly. I just think Hassan Reddick doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah.
And what a fleecing by the Eagles! I think they got a 2nd-round pick from the Jets for Hassan Reddick and
Howie Roseman, man.
Yeah, he's trading all the time and making moves. And then as far as Yaya goes, love talking to Yaya. He's been on this show as a second outside linebacker. That's good to have. That's solid depth overall. Yeah. He's just not a number 1 guy. It blows my mind that he doesn't mix in like a different type of pass rushing moves. It's just straight bull rush.
It is
time after time after time.
Matt, remember when Shaq Barrett got here in 2019 and Jason Pierre-Paul missed the first 6 or 8 games of the season, still recovering from that broken neck injury in the car accident. Carl Nassib was the starter opposite JPP. Actually, Carl Nassib was the team captain that year because JPP wasn't there, and Carl was like, he's
that's
a
right,
feisty guy and all that. I'm going to take on the leadership role. And that 1-2 punch of Carl and Shaq actually worked really, really well because
for sure.
Carl was not like a dominant pass rusher, but he would push the pocket, and the quarterback would have to try to escape and run into Shaq. And there was times where Shaq's speed from the blind side would get around the edge and kind of push some of those sacks towards Carl. And I kind of saw that in Kansas City, 2 way better players, but Derek Thomas, the speed guy, and then you had Neil Smith, the power guy, and they worked really, really well together. I think Yaya Diaby is a 6 to 7 sack guy kind of by himself. And I think he could actually be a 10 sack guy if he had a dominant alpha on the other side.
Yeah.
If he had like a Jason Pierre-Paul 12.5 sack guy, or a Shaq Barrett 19.5 sack guy, like those guys in their prime, put that dominant alpha opposite Yaya, and I think it makes Yaya more productive. Does it make him a better player? No, because Yaya is what he is. But he can get a couple more of those cleanup sacks. But the problem is Hassan's not feeding those cleanup sacks his way. Like that was kind of the master plan. Get Hassan for the speed, and then have Yaya be the power guy, and he'll be on the blind side getting a couple of those flushed sacks right in his lap. And it just hasn't happened because Hassan can't beat his guy. So in that scenario, I think Yaya can be really, really good. A solid number 2 guy that will produce more when he has a really good alpha on the other side. The problem is there's just no alpha on this team.
That's a great comparison for sure. And like Yaya gets a lot of pressures. He even last game he had a lot of pressures, but he's always just a moment away, or he's getting to the quarterback after the throw is already made. And part of that is because you don't have the other speed guy to make the quarterback think about something else. So Yaya's not playing bad. It's just he had such a good rookie year just based on the fact that I know it was 2 seasons now at this point, but based on the fact that he came in like halfway through the season and then had a sack on Josh Allen, started doing things right away, that it raised the bar for our expectations when in reality it maybe kind of hurt him a little bit in terms of in the eyes of others. Nathan Elliott says, great job on the JP Peterson show. Scott Reynolds.
Thank you. Yeah.
Jacob Hardy says, I have tickets to this game, lower bowl, but I'm not even sure if I want to make the trip from Orlando to see this team. Hey, I don't really blame you. I mean, I'm assuming you bought the tickets. I don't even know if you could resell them now, how much money you would make off of that. But it's been tough sledding with this team. So
I'm going to be really curious to see what the the attendance is in Miami, because Dolphins fans are like not psyched about this team. I don't know if there's going to be a lot of Buccaneer fans that are going to travel down to this game, And if the Buccaneers lose and the Panthers beat Seattle, what happens then, Matt?
If say it again, if the Bucs
lose,
and
the Panthers beat Seattle,
it's over.
It's over,
Johnny.
Yeah. And then how many Buccaneer fans would show up for a meaningless Week 18 game, Bucs versus the NFC South champion Panthers?
Right.
Boy, what a depressing thought that is.
What if it rain? What if it rains like it did in the Saints game? Then you might have 10 people.
Yeah. I mean, we have
8 of them would be media.
Right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. We have to imagine that scenario, because it's likely, just as likely as the Bucs winning the division at 8-9. There's all sorts of scenarios, but that's one scenario that really hasn't been talked about. Is it could be over for the Buccaneers on Sunday. They lose to the Dolphins, and the the Panthers rise up and beat the Seahawks, and they've already beat the Rams. And boy, if you're Dave Canales and the Panthers, the fact that you would have this opportunity without having to play the Buccaneers again and have it be meaningful, to knock them out before you even see them for the rematch, that is all the motivation that they need.
Yeah, because then we could be looking at a game. Let's just say that does play out. Bucs lose to Miami, Panthers win. I mean, is Carolina just going to play their backups in the last game of the season? Because they can't move up in the seeding. They are locked in. Whoever wins NFC South is locked in as the 4th seed. So, that would be even worse. So, hopefully we don't get to that. Anyway, Dukes, thank you for this $5 super chat. Says, happy Festivus, Pewter people. Happy Festivus to you as well. My Festivus response to this was the lack of, some regression by players and a lack of development by players as well. And I think regression, certainly Zion McCollum, who's gotten beaten like a drum this year in certain aspects. Antoine Winfield Jr., even though he made the Pro Bowl, certainly not having the impact like he did 2 seasons ago. I think you can look at last season and kind of throw it out. And this guy, I wouldn't even say a regression, but just a not developing the way you want, to me, is Graham Barden, who certainly is struggling from, not having Ben Bredesen and Cody Mauch consistently in the lineup. And a lot of this falls on coaching as well. Maybe not as much Graham Barden, but, certainly in the secondary with McCollum and Morrison getting beat a good amount. It goes hand in hand. And some of it's on the players, some of it's on the coaches. But the lack of development and some regression by players has certainly played a factor into why this team has not done well since coming out of the bye week.
And Bucky Irving, and I think Bucky, because of his size, is beholden a little bit more to the offensive line, right? The fact that the guards are subpar, because he does run effectively between the tackles. He is kind of like that Warwick Dunn player, where he's small, but he's kind of effective, because if he squirts through the hole, makes the linebacker miss, all of a sudden 17-yard run, right? So, I mean, that's kind of been his game. But last year, Bucky averaged 5.4 yards per carry when he rushed for 1,122 yards and 8 touchdowns. He's got 1 touchdown this season. He's rushed for 484 yards. Rachaad White's still your leading rusher. But the average has dropped from 5.4 yards to 3.5 yards per carry. So that's another player, Matt, in your argument that kind of naturally fits in there. Not that, we're not happy about that. And I don't think that Bucky's destined to have this year be what's in his future. I think he can get back to maybe not 5.4 yards per carry, but 4.7, 4.8, somewhere in the middle. I think that'd be great for the Buccaneers. But, Rachaad White has averaged 4.4 yards per carry this year, and that's a yard more than Bucky has.
Yeah, definitely. I think for me, more of the issue with Bucky comes from the injuries keeping him out for a while versus just like not playing well as a player. But, best ability is availability for sure. And then I even think about, a guy like Savracier Dennis. I know it's his first year as a starter, but he's been in the system for 3 years now. And to have such a up and down type of season, I think was disappointing as well.
I agree.
Producer Evolve, thank you for the $4.99 super chat. Says Bucs are 0-7 in games where the opposing defense records an interception. Yeah, Bo said that today too. He's like, we
Yeah.
won every category, time of possession, except for the turnover battle.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like I don't feel like their turnovers have killed them in ways that is kind of let on a little bit, but I don't know. It's played a role for sure.
Yeah, it's to me, it's not so much the turnovers as it is the lack of takeaways on the defense, right? Because
Yeah.
in the first half of the season, when this team was 6-2, they were averaging giving up 20.5 points per game. Now that this team has had the bye week, they're 1-6 in the last 7 games. The takeaways have kind of evaporated, and as a result, they're allowing 27 points per game, right? So that's about a touchdown more per game now than they were giving up when they were 6-2. And I think I talked about it yesterday. Where does that 6.5 points show up? In the 5-point loss to the Patriots, the 4-point loss to the Saints, the 1-point loss to the Falcons, the 3-point loss to the Panthers. And so if you have a takeaway, one extra takeaway in those games that robs the team of a touchdown, it just gives you so much more of a fighting chance. You're taking the ball away from them, they can't score. You're giving it to Baker Mayfield, who knows? But at least you're robbing that other team of a possession, of a chance to score. And so I just think the takeaways have been few and far between during the second half of the season. And the thing is, they had 3 in Buffalo. They picked off Josh Allen twice. They had 1 in special teams. They had 3 in that game, and they still lost by 14 points or so, 12 points. So
Yeah.
It's been difficult to watch. And again, this team doesn't take the ball away consistently on defense. They don't stop the run consistently. They don't play well in the red zone consistently. They don't rush the quarterback consistently. And this isn't the first year this has happened, Matt. This is kind of like year 2 of this, when last year we didn't notice these problems as much, maybe because the offense, that Liam Cohen offense, 30 points per game,
made up for a lot of it.
From week 1 on, when this team dropped 37 points in Cohen's debut against the Commanders, I mean, they wore the superhero cape the entire year. And I think that helped them get a couple of shootouts in the second half. They poured it on the Saints in the second half in New Orleans. They demolished the Giants up there. That's not really that much of a feat. But then they shut out the Chargers out there in LA. Same thing with the Panthers here in Tampa. So they did have a couple of lopsided games where the defense played well, but it's because other teams were having to throw the ball to catch up and making some mistakes and all of that. So I don't know. It's been 2 years, I think, of just really bad defense, and the defense hasn't been as hurt this year as it was last year. Most of the injuries on the offensive side. And they fortified this defense in free agency with Reddick, with Vildor. They added Anthony Walker, didn't work out, but Servassier has been an upgrade over KJ Britt. I think that's fair to say. How much? I don't know, but sure. Benjamin Morrison, Jacob Parrish, Winfield's been back and healthy. Tyke Smith has been way better than Jordan Whitehead. I mean, it's actually looked better on paper, but still Todd Bowles has not been able to get the results from this defense. It's kind of nuts to think about.
And that's why, to your point about, the Liam Cohen offense for the Bucs last year being able to kind of protect some of the flaws on the Bucs defense, that's why in that playoff game against Washington, it was an average game by Bucs offense, and they weren't the supermen on offense, and that's part of why they lost that game. And then the inconsistency with turnovers this year, even when they are trying to turn the ball over, they force a fumble. They can't jump on the fumble like in the Thursday night game against Atlanta.
Yeah.
Fidel Castro, 690. Thanks for the $9.99 super chat. Says, love Uncle Scotty and Buzz and Cousin Matty from Salisbury, Maryland. Do you guys believe Bowles should have switched to a 4-3 defense instead of a 3-4 based on personnel and injuries?
I mean, they're in a 4-man front when they're in nickel, and they're in nickel a lot, right? So, they kind of are, but the base defense is a 3-4. I think Bowles is more familiar with that. So when they're in their base package against either 11 or 12, certainly 13 personnel, they're in their base defense, which is 3 defensive tackles. And the problem is with Hassan Reddick being 240 pounds, maybe, he's not big enough to really be that down in, down out, set the edge defensive end that you would want in a 4-3. I don't know. I'm fine with the personnel being deployed the way it is on paper, but the results just haven't been there. And I don't think they've been coached particularly well on the defensive side. I'm just kind of anxious to see somebody else come in here and have a shot at with this defense. And again, I think there's more we can get from Yaya Diaby. I think Zion McCollum is still salvageable. I think Winfield, despite the Pro Bowl, nomination today, or the induction into the Pro Bowl games where he gets a little flag to play flag football, I think there's more you can squeeze out of him. I think Tyke Smith is an ascending player that I would love to see make a jump with better coaching next year. So there's still a lot of holes in this defense, but it's not like you're at ground zero. I think there are some pieces that you can build and develop. Jacob Parrish, I want to see him in year 2, where he has a full year of health and experience under his belt. Where can he go? Still intrigued with Benjamin Morrison. Had a couple of bumps in the road. That's expected from a guy getting his first start, right? That didn't have any training camp or any preseason, really. So I think he gets a bit of a pass. I think he has some talent. So the cupboard isn't bare. You got to fix and retool the front 7.
Yeah,
get some new linebackers, but I want to see somebody else have a shot at what's here and then add to it and then see what they can do.
Yeah, I do think they need a complete overhaul at outside linebacker and inside linebacker. Like inside linebacker, if Levante retires, you're not bringing back Anthony Walker or Deion Jones. You only have Servase under contract for another season. You need all fresh new faces in there. Then outside linebacker, yes, keep Yaya. Anthony Nelson is technically under contract for a year, but like if they want to cut bait with Chris Braswell, I think that's fine.
Yeah,
and like Dave Walker will be coming back, but just completely new.
Yeah.
SS Johnny G, thank you for the $5 super chat. Says, wouldn't it be poetic if Belichick came to Tampa to chase another Super Bowl? Thoughts? Realistic? Pipe dream? Or bad idea? I think the latter. Bad idea.
Bad idea. He's old. This team needs new, young, innovative for messaging and just for X's and O's and schematically too. And this team is not Super Bowl ready. This team is they have a lot of heavy lifting to do on the defensive side. Offense, you give me Ben Bredesen, Cody Malk. I think Baker Fuel is more comfortable in the pocket. He's not so skittish. I think he's a little bit more accurate. The weapons are there. Mike gets re-signed. I think this has the potential to be a 30-point per game offense. And I think that's where the standard should be set.
For sure. Kings are awful. Thanks for the $4.99. Says, it's beyond stupid if we make the playoffs with 9 wins and get embarrassed by the Rams and Bowl stays. Guess the Glazers don't care about empty seats.
Listen, you've been banging that drum, and at the end of the day, I think you're right. And I, first of all, appreciate all of your super chats. There have been some times where we haven't agreed with you, but you haven't turned your back on the podcast, and maybe you're ahead of us. Maybe you were seeing the light, even though at 6-2, it was like, what are you talking about? But now here we are, right? And we mentioned this before about the empty seats. There were plenty of empty seats for that Thursday night primetime game. The Saints game, who knows how it would have been filled if it had been a rainy day. That's a different story. Had it been a sunny day, maybe there's another 10, 15,000 people there. It looked like it was about half full, right, for that Saints game. The Cardinals game, there were 15,000 empty seats. There just were.
Yeah.
Cardinals fans don't travel. Again, I'm curious, in 2 alternate Marvel universes, what would it look like at Raymond James Stadium? How many empty seats are there if the Buccaneers versus the Panthers were winner take all for the division? Everything's on the line. How many Buccaneer fans are going to come out for that game? Because they've had no sellouts this year. The Glazers do care about that, because that's their gate. That's their pocket money. That's money. That's concessions, parking, merch, all that stuff, plus the cost of the tickets. Matt, if that's a meaningless game in Week 18, I think you could be looking at 20, 25,000 empty seats at Ray J. I think they'd be lucky to be 40,000 people there, maybe 35.
Yeah, unfortunately, it could be. But then also, I'm very curious if the Bucs do win. there's a small chance they flex that game to Sunday Night Football against the Panthers,
Yeah,
and then like, what's the turnout for that if it's a Sunday night
yeah.
game versus like a Sunday
Probably
afternoon?
not many because Buccaneer fans don't like primetime games, especially
No, yeah,
because they have to work tomorrow. I mean, for you out of towners, I can't begin to tell you how many Bucs fans I know that are going like, hey, Scott, like obviously you have press box seats, but do you know anybody who wants to go to the game? I got to sell my tickets. It's a Thursday night game. Why don't you want to go to that? I got to work the next morning. There's a
right.
lot of them out there. And I can't
Yeah,
say I blame you because I'm an old man and I don't like night games anymore. But yeah, I mean, well, and Matt, the other thing too is this.
yeah,
If they win, keep in mind, you bought season tickets, right? Like if you're a season ticket holder, you get tickets for all the games. Then you decide if you want to go to them or sell them or whatever. Don't go or whatever. But if they make the playoffs, everybody's got to buy tickets for that, right?
hmm,
Season ticket holders, you're going to get like the phone calls and the emails, get your playoff tickets now. How many people are going to plunk down what is a lot of money for playoff tickets? Because the NFL sets those prices.
yeah,
Are you going to plop down several hundred or a couple grand for playoff tickets to go see them lose to the Rams or the Seahawks or the 49ers, whoever wins the West? That loser team is going to be down here with a much better record than the
right.
Bucs. That's going to be a key, man, because you might have 15,000, 20,000 empty seats for a home playoff game.
Yeah, you're almost rooting to play the 49ers because I think because of their history, their fans kind of travel a little
Yeah,
bit more. Like it's not easy to
correct.
get. There's not a lot of Rams fans to begin with. You're not going to have
Right.
Rams fans come from LA
Yeah.
to Tampa because at that point, I think you might be wanting to flip them.
Yeah.
Meets McGee, thanks for the $5 super chat. Says Bull's loyalty to bad players and coaches is still his weakness. JTS is better than Logan Hall and Braswell, and he's a backup. They both will be out of the NFL.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm.
Very well said.
Kings are awful. Thanks for the $1.99 super chat.
Mhm.
Says, let's go Dolphins. End Todd Bowles' tenure.
I'm not going to give it all away. I want you to watch my Bucs Brideshead video. I know you don't want to. I didn't even want to do one, but here we are. So let's just go ahead and
Yeah.
watch it. Give me the click and watch it. It's not terribly funny. I injected some humor with my profanity riddled performance last week, mimicking Todd Bowles. So, but just go watch it. But one little giveaway, and I did say a positive was if you're rooting for this team to lose, so Todd Bowles is gone. Well, it's a positive for you. It happened. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, if you want Todd Bowles out, then you're going to root for them to lose. And what do you call it? Hate watching? I love that.
Hate watch. Yeah.
I love
You
that.
want to
Yeah,
hate watch. If you want a new head coach, you are hate watching
I
the
love that.
Bucs because you would like Todd Bowles to go.
Yeah,
And again, Todd Bowles, good man, but just
great man. Yep.
great man, just not getting it done as
Yep.
a coach
That's right.
at the moment. And another little positivity as well, and this kind of goes into hate watching. You can still bet on like prop bets and different stuff on the Bucs with quick picks. Like
That's
if you
right.
think the Bucs defense
That's
is
right.
going to continue to be terrible, go to Splash Sports and bet on the over on the passing yards for Quinn Ewers. But we love Splash Sports. You can join over 2.5 million people playing on Splash Sports. It's the home for Survivor, Pick'em, and Quick Picks. You can get a Merry Splashmas boost on Quick Picks with the best multipliers in daily fantasy sports that you can only find on Splash Sports. You can do it for there's 3 games on Christmas. Not the best lineup due to injuries and the playoff picture, but I'll have a video out for all the Thursday Christmas games. You could do it for the Bucs game on Sunday, college football, and all the other major sports as well. So download the Splash Sports app on you can do it with the QR code on the screen. Start winning some money. You can turn $20 into $1,000 because of those great multipliers that they have. And shout out to our friends over at Splash Sports.
Yep. No podcast tomorrow. It's Christmas Eve. No podcast on Thursday. It's Christmas, but we will have a Pewter Insider for our Pewter Premier and Platinum members, and that is going to be on Friday. We're going to be dishing out, Matt and I, some Bucs Christmas presents for the Buccaneers. So I don't know, Kate. That looks like he could use some gloves right there, Matt.
That's the most direct, like point A to point B type of gift.
Yeah. Right. So Matt and I are going to be coming up with some some Bucs Christmas presents for some Buccaneer players. So should be entertaining. We want to hear your take as well, Bucs fans. If you have some Christmas presents that you would have liked to have seen the Buccaneer players get the day before on Christmas, well, let's talk about it on Friday. That is our Pewter Insider Show for our Pewter Premier and Platinum members. And then guess what? We will be there at 9 a.m. on Sunday morning for the Pewter pregame show, Bucs and Dolphins at 9 a.m. So make sure that you check that out. We've had great attendance all year long for you guys. Appreciate you tuning into that show. And that's been a great lead into at 1 o'clock Pewter Game Day. I love the graphics this week. Adam Slavan came.
Yes.
He's quite the artist. If you think that we use AI for these graphics, well, folks, no. Adam spends countless hours with watercolors just drawing these paintings here for us. So good stuff. Pewter Game Day, 1 o'clock, Matt Matera and Daniel Morales on the call. Then, of course, we will be back after the game around 4:30-ish, 4:45-ish, after Todd Bowles and Baker Mayfield speak with the Bucs at Dolphins post-game podcast. The Bucs will be wearing all white for this game. So I'm not crazy about that, but, not my call.
Is what it is.
Yep.
All right. We got a couple more super chats to get to, and we'll close out the show. Stitch Happens Cat, thanks for the $1.99, says, does Brizard have a take on the Finns' offensive scheme? He did spend a little time with Mike McDaniels.
Yeah.
He did work with Quinn Ewers. I'm sure there's a couple of things that he could point to, but at this point, he's 2 seasons removed from it.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Meets McGee, thanks for the $2 super chat, says, thoughts on Josh McDaniels? Is that bad runs as a head coach?
Yeah.
And plus, he got a good deal with the Patriots. Like Mike Vrabel is a defensive guy. He can kind of just stay there. Yeah. You got Drake May to work with. I get it's more money as a head coach, but I don't know. He's got a
sometimes
good gig there.
You got to stay in your lane. Sometimes you're not a head coach, you're a coordinator. Sometimes you're a position coach, not a coordinator, right? So it's like Rod Marinelli. I've used this expression before. I love Rod, the best defensive line coach I've ever seen, bar none. Phenomenal, right? Just elite defensive line coach. Fair to good defensive coordinator. Didn't win a single game as a head coach, right? It's just that's kind of my prime example. So kind of know your lane, stick in it. I mean, I'm not saying guys shouldn't have opportunities to prove yourself or try, but at the end of the day, I mean, like Robert Saleh, probably a better defensive coordinator than a head coach. Will he get another shot at head coach? Yeah, maybe he might. But like Steve Spagnuolo, same thing. Great defensive coordinator. Didn't get the job done as a head coach.
Yeah, I think there are some cases where a coach should get a second chance. And I actually do think Saleh might be one of those guys if he
I'd like to
has
see
the right
again.
situation with the quarterback and stuff like that. But McDaniels had those opportunities, and he's an offensive guy and hasn't totally made it work.
And I wouldn't say Robert Saleh friend of the program because we haven't him on the podcast, but he's certainly a friend of Pewter Report, isn't he, Matt?
He's taking pictures with Pewter Reporters.
He has. Good guy. We like Robert Saleh.
Yeah, good man. Adam Noquamock, thanks for the $4.99 super chat, says, hey, Scott and Matt, do y'all think the Bucs are in their Super Bowl window now, or are they still not in that tier?
This is a great question because I thought the Super Bowl window was going to be wide open this year. I thought they had a chance to really go far in the playoffs. I predicted 11 wins. I think you did too, Matt, right? I think all of us kind of picked a high number.
Yeah, either did 10 or 11.
Yeah. But 9 or 8 or 7 or whatever the final number ends up being is going to be surprising. Here's the thing. You can fix a team really quickly in free agency if you hit on those. A prime example, it was not sustainable, but the Washington Commanders. Dan Quinn comes in, brings a lot of free agents in, hits on the right draft picks, and all of a sudden they're in the NFC Championship in their first year in that regime. And then the bottom kind of fell out because I think they're old now. But if you look at like what the Rams did, the Rams kind of rebuilt that whole defense. 2023 was Aaron Donald's last year. They had 2 rookies, Kobe Turner and Byron Young. They got into the mix. And then within 2 years, they just like revamped that whole defense, and it's like Super Bowl caliber right now. It can be done. I think Jason Light, he added Shaq Barrett. He traded for Jason Pierre-Paul, and he got Ndamukong Suh. So in 2 years, in 2018 and 2019, he added those 3 players, and boom, they're in the Super Bowl the next year. So it can be done. You just got to hit on the right players. And if you do that, then it's jackpot, So I think we talked about it, there's enough offensive weaponry. It can get you at least 26, 30, 35 points per game. And then it just, can you get the defense to good? If you have an elite offense with a good defense, you can win the Super Bowl. But this is not a good defense. This is a bad defense.
Right. That's how I'd answer this. I think they have if done right and with the right coordinator and stuff like that, they have a Super Bowl winning offense or a Super Bowl capable offense. In no realm of possibility do they have a Super Bowl defense right now.
Exactly. Yep.
Adrian Ricardo Builds, thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says joined late. Chase McLaughlin Pro Bowl snub. He has a good case to make it. The problem with the Pro Bowl for kicker is only one kicker makes it for each conference. So it's tough to go up against Brandon Aubrey of the Cowboys. I mean, he kicks 65-yard field goals. It's a tough case to make, and a lot of people like him. So
half of his are indoors too, which helps. You're not affected by the weather there. McLaughlin, though, 87.5%. He's 11 of 11 on kicks from 50 yards and beyond. That is an amazing statistic, and never been done in Tampa Bay history before. But he's fantastic from long range as well. So, I'm with you, Matt. Like, is a Pro Bowl snub? I think he's Pro Bowl worthy. I think he's a Pro Bowl caliber kicker. But when you're only picking one and you're at 87.5, and the other guy's like at 92 or 93, whatever, then it's that's all they do.
Every other position in the Pro Bowl, they pick at least like 3 or 4 guys. If they did that for kicker, which they wouldn't, but if they did, he's in, and he probably makes a Pro Bowl. But you can only pick one, so doesn't make it. He's had a great year. It's so funny thinking about like his quote unquote struggles in the beginning of the year, and then now what he's done ever since.
Distant memory, for sure.
Yeah, and then Kings were awful with a little positivity. Well, some positivity in the negative, but. Thank you for the $1.99 super chat. Says, wishing you a Merry Christmas, guys. #Fireballs. Yeah. Thank you for the first half of that. Merry Christmas to you as well. Merry Christmas and happy holidays to everybody watching this show. One of the best times of the year, and just super grateful for each and every one of you for all your support of Pewter Report and Pewter Report TV.
Yep, these are our Pewter Platinum members. We greatly appreciate the support of everybody that watches the channel, whether all you've done is just hit subscribe and become one of our 22,113 Pewter Report TV channel subscribers. Great. We appreciate that. Thank you. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for telling your friends about the Pewter Report TV YouTube channel. We've experienced a tremendous amount of growth this year. Our Pewter Platinum members, as you see down there below, they're getting, it's a long list now. Thank you very much for supporting this channel, whether you're Pewter People, Pewter Pro, Pewter Premier, or Pewter Platinum. We greatly appreciate the support. You guys are helping to grow this channel. You're helping to grow the channel membership. We use all that revenue to go to fun places like Mobile, Alabama, Indianapolis for the NFL Scouting Combine, for the Senior Bowl, and do all in those off-season things. The off-season is going to be here pretty quickly. And we're going to be doing probably some coaching search shows. We're going to be doing some free agency shows, some draft shows. It's going to be a fun, action-packed off season. So if you're new to PewterReport.com, if you're new to Pewter Report TV, our off-season coverage is just as good. Some would say better than our season coverage, because we really dive down on what this team's needs are from a coaching standpoint, from a roster standpoint. And please join us. The adventure continues.
That's right. If you're not already doing so, please make sure you follow us on all of our social media on X, Facebook, and Instagram. We're at Pewter Report, and our YouTube channel is Pewter Report TV. So please like and subscribe and leave a comment on this video. Give us a score prediction or whatever you think is going to happen in this Bucs versus Dolphins game. But that's going to do it for us on today's show. For Scott Reynolds, I'm Matt Matera saying Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everybody, and we will see you soon for another edition of the Pewter Report podcast. Out.